Do you want to send a message out to our music community? What do you want them to know about WeTransfer or Damian Bradfield?
No, I mean, I thank the music. I mean, let's do that. I would thank the music community because honestly, it's because of music that WeTransfer became as big as it is. You know, it's because of an artist like Prince understanding actually that you could upload music to WeTransfer. And he was one of the first that understood that you could just create a short link. I know that's obvious today, but in the olden days, you know, short links and using something like Bitly was quite innovative. And Prince was obviously right up there. And he understood that, you know, he could upload music and share it to his fans and just distribute stuff for free. And similar to us, like sort of pay it forward and earn something back some way down the line. Yeah, it's pretty genius. But it's the community at large that really were and still are. In every new market we move into, it's the musicians that discover us first. It's musicians that use us. It's the musicians that use us the most. And actually, it's the musicians that ask the least from us. So it's, you know, it's more common that photographers and designers and that sort of thing reach out and say, could you support us with this? Would you be interested in promoting this project? But actually, it's not so frequently the musicians that are doing it. So I guess I would say to them, feel free to reach out and see if we can help you with a project.
That's really interesting, though, that they're the ones that ask the least, and they're the ones who will take the time to try something first. What do you think that is? Why? Are they more adventurous at heart?
I've heard of so many musicians and studios that, you know, they're laying something down, they just, you know, then they share it with a couple of people and then they get something back and they get some voice notes back on it. And it goes back and forth, and that process is sort of easier with WeTransfer than it is with a competitor, because you don't necessarily need to keep all the previous, you know, versions. And I don't know, there aren't particularly great versioning tools out there, right, for that sort of process, depending on how you operate. I also think with musicians that you're very much in it, right? When you're making music, friends of mine that are, you know, making music don't really come up for air very often. So it's, you know, it's once it's done, then you start thinking about, you know, how it's got to be distributed. And, you know, a lot of the marketing of music has been taken away from the music industry. You know, no one's got money for music videos anymore. No one's really putting a lot of money against marketing an album. Albums aren't being produced that much. It's, you know, tracks are being released, then sort of batches of tracks, and then occasionally albums, but it's completely changed. So I think, who do you go to when you've got an album and you want to market it? Your publisher and the record label are not going to put a ton of money against it. You know, places like Red Bull, Sound Select, and Music Academy closed down. Loads of the music publications aren't around anymore. It's tougher and tougher, right, for the industry to get recognition. So I think a lot of them just don't bother. Just upload to Spotify, put it on SoundCloud, you know, do the sort of usual tactics and hope and pray that somebody picks it up.
Yeah, for sure. DIY has really come to the fore, hasn't it? And I guess I think there's a lot of musicians out there now that are getting really smart about how to market themselves online. They have the tools, but it's getting that education first and then learning how to use it to your advantage, because marketing, I don't think, has really come that naturally for creatives. Often they're usually just right into their art and just the creation of that. So what advice would you give to creatives out there?
So my first thing would probably be don't spam people. So if we do get people reaching out to us, very often it's an email that feels like it's gone to 100 other people. You know, if you were trying to make someone feel special and if they're part of something that could be exciting or, you know, really interesting, try and address the person by name. Think about what it is you're going to say and try to make sure that it's really relevant and that, you know, the company might be interested in getting involved or that there would be some real benefit for collaboration or partnership. What we were sort of alluding to earlier on, I think, is understand, you know, what benefit your work could be to somebody else. I understand that if you've been crafting something for 4 years, you think it's amazing and you think it's worth $1 million. But you know, with however many million creatives there are out there, everybody thinks their work's worth $1 million, and it's not, quite frankly, is it? Until it is. So, you know, I think you've got to be realistic about, you know, what you're asking of people and what you're asking them to do. I love it when somebody comes to us with a really clear proposal where they've really thought through something, where it's a realistic budget, where we can see how there's a clear role that we can play in the process, where we have, an audience that would be really interested in the message, and they ask for a realistic amount of media or money, to help bring it to life. It's a dream, right? Because I don't have a massive team. It's not like I've got 100 people here that are sifting through these sort of proposals and then prepared to spend 6 months working through all the details. That's not our job. So when you get those sort of proposals through, it doesn't really do anyone any favors. So it's really thinking through what you want from someone and then helping do the heavy lifting. It's such a it then becomes such a no-brainer, and it's such an easy decision to make that it's beneficial for both parties, right? And it's the same as a job interview. If this is your CV, it needs to look great, right? It needs to look like it's super relevant and it's well thought through, and you can do it, and we can trust you. I know that's hard if you're just starting out and you haven't got a track record of working with Spike Jonze on every single video you've ever made. But I think showing that you've got grit and that you know how to do things and you're willing to put the effort in is half the battle.